After 20 years, Mahesh Bhatt decided to direct a movie, and I cannot believe that this is the movie that he directed. Any guesses? It's Sadak 2. It is straight up so awful, you guys. I cannot believe he's the same director who's made such iconic movies like Zakham and Arth, Dil Hai Ke Manta Nahi, Hum Hai Rahi Pyar Ke. I think Ashiki and the first Sadak as well. These are all really great movies from like the 80s and the 90s. He's a really iconic director. It is so hard to believe that the same dude who made those movies made this movie. And just in case anyone feels like being like, oh, well, the story also sucks of this movie, he also wrote the story of the movie. So there is no escape for him. This movie is all his fault. The movie stars Sanjay Dutt reprising his character of Ravi from the first Sadak movie, and also Pooja Bhatt, but she's mostly just in flashbacks and voiceovers. I don't really think she's actually in the movie. It also stars Alia Bhatt and Aditya Kapur. So what's the movie about? It's about Aditya, played by Alia Bhatt. She's a rich kid who has a personal vendetta against this Guruji who she thinks has pretty much destroyed her family and poisoned them, and is trying to take advantage of them and all of their money that their big company has to spread their propaganda. The movie never really explains like what he says or what propaganda they have, but they're basically like those shady godmen who just take money from rich people and then have these big ashrams, and they say that they have a connection to God, but really they only have a connection to money. Alia thinks her father is being brainwashed by this Guruji and also by her new mom, who is actually her aunt, and she also thinks her aunt is responsible for her mom's death. So it's like all this complicated shit. But basically, she's like trying to take this Guruji down, and the Guruji and his team kind of keep following her, and they've tried to prove to her dad that she's a mental patient. So she runs away from the mental institute to Ravi's transportation company because she had apparently booked a ride to, I believe it was Rishikesh, because I think it was like her mother's dying wish or something that she has to go there for her 21st birthday. So she recruits him to come. He doesn't really want to come. I think his wife recently died, so he's very suicidal. It's a whole mess. They basically have to go on this journey, I guess because it was Adya's mom's dying wish. There's also something where like she turns 21 and she's actually going to become the inheritor of all of the companies and the riches and all of the wealth. Not her dad. Oh, and there's also Vishal, who is Aditya Roy Kapur, who is Adya's boyfriend, who apparently is in jail, and they just picked him up on the way to their very long road trip. But he seems a little shady. I guess they had an idea of making a movie against like fake, religious people, but I don't think the movie says that or explains that well. It's pretty much just Aditya like trying to fight Guruji and saying that he's fake, but it doesn't really show anything that the Guruji does that's like necessarily shady, except for the fact that he has like weird hair and like eye makeup. The direction of the movie is straight up awful. It is really cheesy and super 80s. Sometimes we think that those times were just really, cheesy, but clearly we are more than capable of making shitty movies in 2020 as well. I mean, the story is a mess. Aditya and Vishal's love story is supposed to be great, but literally you have like 2 scenes and you're supposed to just assume that they love each other. It's just so dumb. There is a pet owl that like attacks bad guys in one scene. Towards the end, there's like this one scene where like I guess this corrupt cop has the gun on Ravi, and Ravi starts laughing and he's like, oh, this guy, he's crazy, he's laughing while he has my gun pointed towards him. And it was like, what? That was just such a dumb moment in the movie. Everyone's performances across the board were really bad. Very, very bad. Super cringe. I don't know what was going on. I think the only one who was kind of decent was Sanjay Dutt. Like, he had some, like, nice, moments and, in close-ups. But the movie itself sucks, so it's, like, totally wasted. And the casting of Alia and Aditya Kapur was just so unnecessary. Honestly, this movie was unnecessary. Clearly, they just wanted to just use Alia and her fame and then just like throw a random story together and just package it off as a sequel to the original Sadak, which was a very, very popular movie. Maybe they thought like, oh, Ashiki 2 was great. People love that movie. But Ashiki 2 was actually a good movie. That's why people saw it. The music is pretty whatever in this movie. Yeah, I can't really say any of the songs are necessarily that good. They're like okay, maybe one or two, but for the most part, I don't think I want anything to do with this movie. So, I don't want to listen to it. Overall, this movie is awfully terrible. Please do not watch it. Do not, under any circumstances. I think this year has been difficult for all of us, and I think there's absolutely no reason to put yourself through watching this movie. I think a pandemic has been enough mental strain for us, and I don't think we need to put any more strain on our minds. So there you have it. That is my review of Sadak 2. Let me know if you actually had the courage to watch this movie and what you thought about it. If you like my reviews, then please give my video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, Movies with Meher. Alrighty guys, see ya.